Shemai GTA chums, I assume because you're watching this video, it's quite a quiet week with regards to discounts. We don't actually know that yet, but nevertheless, this video is about my garage and the off-road vehicles that I have in my garage, because it really lists what are my favourite off-roaders and the best off-roaders in the entire game. And when I'm talking about off-road, I'm talking about driving directly up Chiliad, and I'm not talking about off-road races. Although you could win with this little beastie for off-road races, but that's only two-wheel drive. All these cars are four-wheel drive, which is nice. The Squaddy. So this is a good, solid performer. Slowly goes up Chiliad, even the hard routes. And yeah, it's all right, but I wouldn't super recommend it. And then we have the free crawler. I quite like this, funnily enough. It's quite quick as well. It gets slow when it gets a bit more vertical, but it's doable off-road, even on some of the harder routes, although it does tend to struggle a little bit on the harder routes. It prefers the easy route, but the free crawler, it can do Chiliad in 1 minute 39 seconds, and it only costs 600,000. So it could be one that you're considering if you like the look of that car. But I think down below are where the better off-roaders lie in many ways. If you want a stylish off-roader, one that's nicely customizationable, then this is perhaps the car for you, the Everon. I mean, it does cost 1.4 million because it costs a fair portion, but you can add all these extras to make it just the car that you want. But one of the tricky parts is, although it does have a very powerful engine, it is fast on the upslopes. Once it gets a bit more vertical, it tends to pop wheelies on the front. So what I've done is put a light bar on the front of this car, just on the front, to add a bit of weight to the front, which does make it a bit better at going up the slopes. But nevertheless, you're looking at 1 minute and 48 on the easy route up Chiliad. And then onwards next to a slower vehicle, actually, but nevertheless, it's an excellent one because this is the Sand King SWB, I think. I think it's the short wheelbase. Yep, the short wheelbase one. This is only 38 grand, and that's why it's there. But it's slow and steady and quite reliable on the easier route up Chiliad. It does tend to struggle a bit on the hard route, but it can deal with some of the less technical parts. But it's got great clearance. It's got a reasonable amount of customization, but not brilliant customization wise. You're looking at mainly the kind of paint job, and you don't have a lot of you don't have any liveries at all, unlike the Everon. But it's cheap. So it's a brilliant entry level, and it's going to be you've got to have it in your shed just because of the price alone. And you can steal it off the street for free if you go up to Sandy Shores. Next, one of my favourites, this is the Hell Ion. It can do the hard route, can do, but it prefers the easy routes in many ways. And you can put this armour plating on the back. Franklin, come on. And you put this skull and crossbones livery, very def adder. I like this, and the front end as well, having the engine poking out like this. It's brilliant. It's a good, reliable off-roader, and it can get up Chiliad. What are we on with this? Hell Ion, 1 minute and 54 seconds. Actually, that's slower, isn't it, back than the SWB? I think that was in the rain actually, so I think it would beat the SWB in the dry. All right, so on to the next one. Our first Beres vehicle. This is quite a class vehicle. It can hand off-road wise. These are all four-wheel drive vehicles as well. Off-road, it can handle the harder routes, slow and steady, not the hardest route, but nevertheless it can do it, and it's pretty quick on the upslopes as well on the easy route. Very nice customization. I mean, you can change it. There's so many options. This is the most customizationable of all the off-roaders because it's a Benny's vehicle, obviously it is, and it looks brilliant. It's one of the best looking cars. I like the look of it. What I've done with it, you might not like the look of it, but I mean, you can make the vehicle, customize it just the way you want it to make it the way you want it, and that's the Rancher. It's excellent, but the price-wise, you're looking at 1.185 million just for the conversion for the initial price, not putting on top the actual costs. And looking up Chiliad, you're looking at 1 minute and 41 seconds, so not bad, faster than the Everon and faster than the SWB there, and pretty solid on the harder routes as well. Number two, this is number two. This is the genuine number two as well. So the next two are the absolute best that you're going to come across. and it should come as no surprise that the Camacho's here. Some people would put this at number one, but I wouldn't, because I think performance-wise it isn't quite there, but it is very, very close to being number one. There's not a great deal in it, and it's more customizationable than number one. Customization options, you have some liveries, you can take the top off, you can have a roof on top of it, you can have a cab on the back, you can have all sorts on this. But performance-wise, it can do the hard and the easy routes up Chiliad, no problem, the best of the best. And timing-wise, you're looking at 1 minute and 25 seconds to get to the top of Chiliad on the easy route on this. So it's an excellent vehicle. You've got to buy it for, and price-wise, comes in at 345 grand. It is a super bargain. Probably the best value out of all of them when you put match performance and price. I'd say that's the second off-road you're going to get after the SWB there. So definitely worth it. But coming in at number one, of course it's coming in at number one. Yes, definitely, it's a desert raid. Now, you might not like the look of it, so you might not want to buy this. So you might want to buy the trophy truck. So if you wanted the trophy truck, this could be number one. I've not actually bought the trophy truck yet, so I don't have a time for that. But it's going to be similar to the desert raid. It might be faster, it might be slower. Depends on the performance on the day, I think. But we're looking at 1 minute and 23 seconds, so 2 seconds faster than the Camacho. The Camacho could win in some conditions, who knows? Um, but the two are pretty equivalent. 2 seconds isn't much, but for me, it's much better because performance-wise, pretty similar on the hard stuff, but it's got a lot more power. But it does tend to do wheel spins on the easier bits when it's gathering pace compared to the Carpaccio, which gives a more solid performance, but it's less powerful. So it's a mix and match thing. I think on the harder routes you are going to benefit more from the Desert Raid compared to the Camacho, because I think it's going to handle things better having more power. But they're both pretty awesome, and they're both definite kind of must-haves. I'd say maybe one or the other, but if you're going to buy one, it's probably going to be a Camacho on price. It's going to be a Desert Raid on best of 695k. But if you're going to buy the trophy truck, that's about 400 grand. So that's directly comparable, perhaps price-wise, to the Camacho. But the one thing that's lacking is customization and looks, so that's why you're going to get the Camacho over the Desert Raid. So look at it, you might think it's an ugly mofreaker. I quite like the look of it, and it bounces all over the place. It's a great car. You can see my video on both of these vehicles if you want to know which one is best performance-wise for customization. I'll put a link in here somewhere. But these are my two recommended vehicles, go-to vehicles for off-road races, no, for off-road, as in up Chiliad. I haven't talked about water performance on these, but these all go through water really easily, no problems. So they'll even get through deep sections of water. There are variances on crossing water as well, but I'm purely talking about Chiliad on these. I'm not going to bum steer you, but I'd say take into account the Astron as well, the latest DLC. That did up Chiliad, it did 1 minute and 37 seconds. So that's one where you might want to consider just for easy routes of Chiliads, but it won't do the hard routes because it doesn't have the clearance. It doesn't quite have it there to do those. But these are all excellent vehicles for ground clearance, etc. If it's been useful, drop a like and a subscribe. If you want to have some more garage clearances, some more garage guides, then I'll show you my other garage with the fastest cars in this in this game, for example. So I could do that. There are some other garages that I'm reorganizing to make some more interesting stuff. Anyway, drop a like and subscribe if it's been useful. But thank you very much for watching, and have a most excellent day if you are in Dust GTA.